Hello, and thank you for joining us tonight on Passing for Perfect. Thank you for joining in. We are popping in. We did not have a show scheduled for today, but we've had some breaking news and some things going on. So we wanted to take a break from the holiday break that we chose to have and come in and chat with y'all. And hopefully, you all see us popping in on your screens and everything and can join us today. But I am Kynisha Grinner,
And I'm Corey Grinner.
and we are doing our Passing for Perfect episode, just kind of a pop up show on y'all tonight. Um, we have a couple of things that have happened and transpired this week that we want to discuss. One thing just came across our screens as breaking news, so that's what kind of provoked this show to come out of nowhere. So sorry for being off schedule and jumping in and everything, but we gotta talk. We gotta talk. We gotta discuss these things.
And so y'all, as y'all can see, we outside today. We was yard working and projecting, and so we decided, okay, when we already outside, let's get it. I ain't get to cut my grass like everybody else is, because I thought it was gonna rain, but it didn't. So I ain't gonna let y'all see my yard. Well, maybe y'all can see it in the mirror. Oh, they can. My grass need cutting. Y'all ignore that. I'm
Not
a
that
bad
bad.
husband right now.
Not that bad. It is not that bad. He just is a little melodramatic when it comes to the yard. So, you want to take us into our discussion here? What
Okay,
the dealio is?
I guess we'll go with the we'll go right into Miss Richardson and the Olympic thing. Let's start there.
Right. That's the
Let's
breaking
start
news
there.
that just came across the screen.
So, as we all know, well, for you those of you who don't know, who don't really follow sports, um, Sha'Carri Richardson, a young lady, ran track for LSU, qualified for the Olympics. She tested positive for marijuana on June the 16th, I think it was 19th, somewhere up in there. Don't y'all quote me on the date, but tested positive for marijuana. And so she was disqualified. They initially gave her a 3-month suspension. She appealed, got it down to 30 days. So once we got it down to 30 days, it was down to 30 days. It did disqualify her from being able to run the 100 meters. But she was expected to still be eligible for the 4x1 relay. But the announcement came out today that um that she was not going to be able to run in the 4x1. She didn't get picked to run in the 4x1 relay, which in turn is kind of not what was expected. It was more that she was going to be able to run in the 4x1 because her suspension will be up, which it will be. Her 30 days will be up before that race is run on the 27th. But it looks like Team USA and um, I don't know if it was in coordination with the U.S. Olympic team or if it was just the team itself decided not to put her on a 4x1.
Yeah.
Which
Which people don't realize that right now, a lot of people are kind of coming against the Olympics as a whole, but this is not an Olympic, it's not an international Olympic decision. This is a U.S. Olympic decision.
for her not to run in a 4x1.
Right.
I mean, her being disqualified was the Olympic
It was the
decision.
U.S.
Her being disqualified was the Olympics for her positive drug test. She's getting disqualified by the Team USA to not be able to run by the 4x1 because that's their choice.
U.S. Anti-Doping Agency.
Yeah, I mean it's because it's the Olympic team, but that is an Olympic rule. Like it's not like the U.S. can.
I'm sorry, everybody. The international agency only says that within 48 hours of your run, of your event that you will be performing, you should not have that substance in your system.
But
So
that's
this is being fueled by the U.S. Olympic Agency. It may be being upheld by the international board, but this is being pushed and fueled by the U.S. committee.
because I mean that's their choice. It's still an Olympic rule that you can't test positive. Now each country has their own rules on how they enforce it, but as an Olympian, you can't test positive. So I mean, it's really splitting hairs here. Because
I don't think so.
if it wasn't Olympic, if it wasn't an Olympic rule, the USA wouldn't be able to enforce it. They wouldn't be able to do
Yes, they
anything about it.
can because every country is putting in their people. So in order for you to qualify for the Olympics as a whole, you have to qualify with your country first, and your country sends you to the Olympics as a whole. So this is a I don't think it's splitting hairs because the US will decide who represents the US on their teams, and they decide what their rules are aside outside of the Olympics. You have to first meet and qualify for the US before they even send you over to qualify for the Olympics as a whole. So I
Which
feel like it's not splitting hairs. I feel like the US is doing more bull as they normally do.
but she already qualified, so at that point, that's why the date when she fails the drug test matters.
Right.
Because if she failed the drug test before she qualified, then she's automatically disqualified. I don't remember the exact date when she got tested. So she'd already run and qualified for the Olympics. So
I don't mean qualify for her actual run. I'm just saying in general, the US chooses who represents the US in the Olympics. So you first have to pass their standards before they submit you over to the international board as a whole. So it's not even about the international committee making the issue. It's the US committee that's making the issue. It's the US committee that's put the suspension on her. It's the US committee who has now left her off of the 4x team that she was supposed to run on. So this is not an international Olympic issue. This is a US committee issue.
and that's I mean, once again, it still comes down to their choice. The Olympic Committee as a whole, you can't fail the drug test. The US has decided, okay, she failed the drug test. Her suspension is going to be up too close to when it's time for her to run. So we decided not to put on a 4x1 team. I mean,
I'm gonna.
at the end of the day,
You
it's still the same. It's
did you miss
still
what I said when I said the international says that you cannot have this in your system within 48 hours, which means we haven't even gotten to that threshold yet as far as the international committee is concerned. So this is an US thing, not
this
an
is
international
this
thing.
the
Let's keep going. I don't want us to.
the international part of it only qualifies that 48-hour rule only matters once you're already over and on the Olympic team. Once you're there.
That's why I say it's
But
not an
but
international
failing a
thing. This
drug
is a
test is
US
still an
thing.
international thing. It's still
Sir,
an Olympic
let's
rule.
not. Let's
This
move
rule is
on. Let's
only
let's
in
let's
place.
move on. Let's move on.
No.
Y'all hear what I'm saying. This is a US. This is my opinion.
Okay.
He's gonna have his opinion. My opinion is that the US is doing this. This is not an international thing because if you look at the international rules, they say that you should not have these substances in your system within 48 hours of your match. Period. Whatever it is that you're about to do, you cannot have any of these substances in your system within 48 hours. Since we have not even reached that time threshold, then it is the US that is deciding to invoke this clause that they have as far as the US committee is concerned to go against her. So is she supposed to, she has already come out and said, I accept my punishment. I'm good with it. I understand it. You know, I wasn't supposed to have whatever in my system. We don't know when it was legal where she was when she smoked in Oregon. It was legal. But in order for them to make this such a thing, I just don't understand what it is with this particular situation that is making this become such a big deal for something that hasn't even happened yet. We're not even there yet. We haven't even reached the Olympics yet. And this girl will have already served her suspension. And now you decide she's not to be on the team at all, even after the suspension is up. So it's just a lot more BS. I think that the U.S. as a whole needs to figure out where they stand on the marijuana issue, because we have the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, the NBA, uh, NBL. I'm sorry, that are they're loosening their reins on they're loosening everything up when it comes to marijuana. But all of those sports are loosening things up, and here you have the Olympics, which feeds off of those sports for the most part, with these strict and tight reins. When we have seen many of the Olympians get medals taken away and have to disqualify themselves after they have already performed in the race. Then they go back and all of a sudden, oh, this has come up and now we need to strip these people of these medals and all this other stuff. But they were allowed to do what they had to do. And they were allowed to do the race that they were gonna do, or whatever it is that they were competing in, and then they go back and strip them of it. But at that point, what difference does it make? We already know Michael Phelps has the gold medal in this, and we already knew everybody else had already won. Now you go back and take the medal away. So what?
But
It's still there.
these are people like that. That's different. Like these people who've gotten their medal script have been for performance enhancing drugs. It hasn't been for weed.
Right.
Like it hasn't been for marijuana. So that's not apples and oranges.
No, I'm just speaking simply on the violation of a rule.
Yeah, but those are different rules. Like that's a performance enhancing drug that helps you perform better.
But Michael Phelps was marijuana.
Yeah, but Michael Phelps didn't get anything taken away but his endorsements. He got suspended for not even for testing positive, because he never tested positive.
He got suspended.
He got suspended for being on camera. Like it's like when people bring that up, those are two different things. Like we want to group everything into one category when it's not the same. It is, no matter what you think about marijuana and if it should be legal and where she was, and it was legal where she was, like whatever the rule is what the rule is. Whether I think the rule is stupid or not,
right,
it doesn't change the rule.
Right.
Like, and the fact that she's admitted, hey, I did it, it's over with, keep it moving. Now, as far as the Olympic Committee, it becomes, the race is on July 27th, I think it is. So whenever I'd have to look up the exact when her suspension started. Like, as far as the Olympic Committee is concerned, this is a U.S. Olympic group. So it's arbitrary. Like, it's just like anything with the when it comes to these rules where you have a governing body. If there's not a clear cut, this is what it is, everything else becomes arbitrary. So it's their choice to let her run in a 4x1 or not let her run. They chose not to let her run as a result of her suspension being up within a week of when she actually is scheduled to run. So from as a coach or someone who is in charge of a team, if my team has been over here, we've been working, we've been training, we've been working together as this 4x1 team, she's not even allowed to practice and compete with them. This is a relay. This isn't an individual event. So these people are working together, practicing, getting timing down, baton changing, and all that.
Right.
So just for her to jump in and say, okay, we're going to throw her in 5 days before the race, that's not fair to the person who's been working up until this point. I mean, that's from a coaching professional athlete standpoint. Take all the emotion out of it about it. I mean, I don't even know why there's an emotion about it.
I understand the emotion. I understand, but I also call BS on what you just said.
Why?
Because you and I both know that if these people want her to perform with the team, that they will make arrangements for what they have to do so that these ladies can practice together. They may not be able to do it on whatever is the Olympic practice field or wherever they are that is specifically designated for the Olympic training right now. but they can definitely do what they need to do to make sure that these ladies get together, that they run together, that they practice together, that they do all these things. So that is bull to me. That is BS all day long. If they wanted her to be a part of this, there are other ways around this.
Once again,
and it could be right down the street from wherever they're working out now.
There's an opinion. Like she can't. She's not allowed to compete. So if someone finds out that she's practiced with them by accident, by whatever, they can take the whole team away. They can ban the whole team from.
I'm gonna look that up too.
She's not allowed to be a part of this. Period. So all that other stuff is like.
I mean, even if there's still ways around that.
Once again, you saying there's ways around it, and if they get caught, like she did, then
there are ways around it. Even if she doesn't interact directly with the people that are performing in the Olympics, even if they wanted to find some other people and she work out with her teammates from LSU, there are ways around it if you're just talking about from a coaching standpoint and her working out and staying ready for the race.
It's not about being ready for the race. This is a relay. You need to practice with the people you're running with.
I understand.
So that's the point. That's part of the reason why they decided not to let her be on a 4x1.
My hot button for this whole thing is I'm not gonna go with America and none of their excuses about this. Okay. She is suspended for her actions. She accepted that and all this. My hot button about all this is the peanut gallery around it and us. The people who are being very judgmental to this young lady, who are saying that, she's stupid, for this was for the people, and all these comments. That is my hot button, because as far as I'm concerned, the US is full of bull. They can do what they want to do. They could have not even made this a thing. They could have not even suspended her. And they could have done a lot of things. They could have done a lot of things. But it is what it is at this point. And the rules are the rules. You can't go around the rules. They are what they are. She accepted her suspension. So now we're here. My problem is seeing all the people who keep on going with the she was stupid, she shouldn't have done that. She was this, she shouldn't have done that. This was for the people. You had a chance, and this is that and the other. Like, all of that is so unnecessary. This was not for the people. That young lady ran. Our son made a very good point the other night. Half the people making these comments never saw this girl run as a student, but you recognize her for one race, for her qualifying race, and now all of a sudden it's for the people. Like, come on, folks. Let's know when we're doing too much. Let's know when we're putting way too much on the situation. Everything ain't for the people. This is not for the people. We've had Olympians. We've had Black and African American. We've had African. We've had Jamaican. We have had great representation in the Olympics for years now. We've had Usain Bolt. We had Jackie Joyner Kersee. We've had what's the sister Flojo. We have had all these representations and many, many more that I can't just think of the names right off. Many more. So this situation is definitely not a for the people, for the culture situation. That young lady has worked her behind off to get to this point. So what she's feeling right now definitely does not need her own community bashing her with this was for the people, and you should have done better, and you should have been paying attention, and who are the people around you, and all this different stuff. Like, all of that stuff is not necessary.
But there's people, like, it becomes a hot button, and just like Jai's cousin said, like, at this point, people just be looking for something to talk about, to be excited about for no reason. Because I can promise y'all, the girl, this wasn't her first time smoking. I can promise y'all, this probably wasn't her first time It probably wasn't even her first time. If anybody know anything about college sports, this probably wasn't her first time testing positive for marijuana. Because I promise you, this today wasn't just that week. You know, with the situation with her mom wasn't her first time using that as a coping mechanism of smoking. And if you know anything about college sports, I promise you, it may have not been her first time testing positive. It's the first time for her Olympic trials that they, excuse me, that she may have tested positive, and they just using it and they just running with it because it's an opportunity to. Because she's probably the best chance that we've had as an American team to just shatter the record in that woman's in the woman's 100. I don't even know who has the current record, Olympic record for the 100 in women. We probably look it up right quick and keep it moving on that part of it. But the thing is, for me, the marijuana should be legal. I mean, period. Like, what are we still doing here? But we know why it isn't in a lot of states, especially in the South, because they use marijuana is one of the pipeline to prison type of drug crimes you can have in the South.
Right.
So this is about imprisonment. Because if you notice, the majority of the states that are legalizing marijuana or North, West Coast, you don't have any southern states that have legalized marijuana, and it's for a reason. So the whole thing with her is unfortunate. Like, it's an unfortunate situation, but for everybody to be trying to make it a racist situation is sometimes I think we go a little bit too far making everything racist.
Everything's racist. Everything's for the culture. Everything's for the people.
That lady earned her. She ran her way to greatness. She worked. God, she had a God given talent that she nurtured, she enhanced, she perfected to be able to qualify for the Olympics.
And she's young.
She's young. She'll be able to do this again. As long as she stays healthy, she'll be able to do this again. Um, the unfortunate part is in this situation because of the rules, she's going to be take a chance is going to be taken away from her because she probably won 2 or 3 races at the Olympics. So instead of having 3 medals, she would have had 6. Or however many races she was going to run in. That's gonna be the biggest thing.
It hit her hard as an individual because she's missing money behind this and everything because her endorsement deals were probably going to be through the roof.
And it's
when she
thing.
Came back from the Olympics.
This lets you know the lack of seriousness as far as the marijuana is, because marijuana is not a performance enhancing drug. It's not helping her one bit to perform better.
No.
But Nike is sticking by her as with their endorsement. That's big. That lets you know when a major corporation said, "Oh man, we still here, we still standing strong, and we still moving on," because we know the first thing when you do something that they consider to be a hot button or a red flag, they are dropping you like a sack of potatoes. So she like she said recently, I'm just gonna shadow whatever records I need to at the next national event that comes up after the Olympics, and we're gonna keep moving forward.
Right. I mean, all right. Now that was one thing that just popped up. I'm not happy at all about them Xing her off of that Olympic team. I think that it's unfortunate. All the excuses in the world that they could come up with, I don't believe that any of that stuff really matters, especially when you have somebody that performs to the level that she performed, that she, you know, is capable of performing to, along with the other ladies who are that would have been on the team. I think that the 4 of them would have been able to get together and mesh together very easily. Because in order for you to reach that level, you are a high performing person. So the foolery about you only get a week and all that other stuff, yeah, no, I don't buy into that. But I'm very proud of her. I would like to voice my support just as an individual against everything else that's been coming at her. She has there's a great video from other LSU ladies they put together a video in support of her. And I think that's the best thing that anybody could do for that young lady at this time, is to continue to show support, because nobody is speaking to the fact that that young lady found out her mother died after a race from a reporter. At some point, we got to do something about these reporters, because that could have, thankfully, it was only marijuana that she turned to in that moment. Because imagine coming off of something like that, and then a reporter coming up to you and asking you how you feel about the sudden death of your mother, and they are reporting to you that your mother has passed. So
Yeah, that the media thing, that's a whole nother bag of worms that we won't even get into.
nah,
That's a whole nother conversation.
yeah, I
That's
think
a whole
I
nother
think
day.
she's doing well
Right.
under the circumstances. So more power to her, blessings to her, great and nothing but positive energy to her. And whatever her endeavors are, I'm glad that she took responsibility. It's a wonderful thing to see somebody of that age, in that age group, just openly take responsibility for their actions and be cool with the consequences, because they know that they were
That was
wrong.
and that's the best part. She accepted. She knew she was wrong, because she could have easily been suspended for 3 months, and they cut it to a month, because they were like, I think they cut it to a month with hoping they were going to put on a 4x1. I don't know. Like I haven't been into researching, because I'm just like, I'm burnt out on a lot of stuff. So I didn't research how that whole process goes, as far as who's responsible for um
The
the
limits.
limits on the suspensions, and when she appealed and got it shorter, and what determines being on the Olympic team, and this that, as far as that short time frame. I know she'd have had to fly out to Tokyo that week and get prepared and ready to run the 4x1. But at the end of the day, like, she accepted she took responsibility, accepted the consequences. She's moving on. We need to move on. The media's not gonna let you stop feeding into the media. Like, stop feeding into that, because the peanut gallery are going to be in the comments, and they're going to say foolery, and you're going to find yourself in arguments with complete idiots. Some of them are trolls that they don't even real people. Like, they're only there to keep these type of flies burning and keep clicks and comments going on these posts. So yeah, we're going to keep it moving on that part. So next, we'll get into the
Bill Cosby.
freeing of Bill Cosby,
He rapes, but
but
he
he saves.
saves.
And
Ooh, Dave Chappelle.
this Dave Chappelle is a genius, y'all.
He
If you
rapes,
haven't seen it, I can't remember
but he
which one of
saves.
the
That was his one when he came back, right? That was his first
I don't
stand up,
know
I
if it was the
believe.
first stand up or the second one, when he went with the he raced but he saved.
I think it was the first one.
Hilarious. I think it was the first one. Whatever. Just go watch all Dave Chappelle stuff.
His comeback show.
All his comeback shows. Um
He rapes, but he saves. Okay, Bill Cosby. I am listen, the salon is the place for great debates, okay? Um I wish we could get Dwayne Hill on the phone right now, along with Mr. Fred Hill, because they were in the salon. Fred come walking through the door talking about, what did he say when he first walked through the door?
Fred, Free Bill Cosby.
Free Bill Cosby. Is that what he said? I don't
Mhm.
remember, but I personally don't care that he's free. I think that he should have stayed locked up. That's just my opinion. I feel like, and they are like, Bill ain't do nothing. Bill ain't even do. He ain't do nothing. What he do? What he do? So we have, as a culture, we're going to talk about for the culture, for the people. We are split. Like, I think that is a serious split among the culture slash community slash people, period. Even white people, other cultures and communities, I think there's a split, there's a divide where Bill Cosby is concerned, because it's Bill.
Yeah, we are not totally divided in the house.
No,
We're in agreement on one part of it, and so yeah, at this point, I'm not debating nobody's truth. I wasn't in the room with nobody.
right.
I don't know what Bill did or Bill didn't do. I have an opinion. And my opinion is Bill may have did something to one of them women. If he ain't do it to all of them. But even if he only did one or two, it it makes it guilty. Sure, do I think that in Hollywood there's a lot of things that go on in Hollywood that don't go on with us as everyday people?
Absolutely.
When it comes to drugs and sex parties 100%. And all this kind of stuff? 1,000%.
Yep.
This may be the first time in a decade that I've agreed with anything that Judge Joe Brown said. When he said back then, that was the lifestyle.
That's what they did.
They passed out drugs, they had sex parties, all this went on. Those were the days, those were the rules. But when the rules change, then your process needs to change.
Right.
So once again, I feel sorry for any woman who was a victim of this, who was truly violated. For those of you who willingly participated in taking drugs and ended up having sex, as an adult, we got to take some responsibility for our actions.
You have to take responsibility for your actions.
You can't get drugged up, loaded at a party, at an event when you know these type of things are going down, and then decide after you participated that you weren't okay with what went on, or that you didn't like the way you were treated afterwards. Those type of things. Like, as adults, we have to take some responsibility for our decisions and the positions we put ourselves in, male and female.
Right.
Just like I saw some people post where nobody's going after Cardi B when she openly admitted drugging me.
Talk to the police.
Yeah, y'all mad at the wrong people. Y'all should be mad at the authorities if some people can, if men can, it doesn't matter if Cardi B openly admitted to drugging men. If none of these men come forward and say they were drugged and robbed,
you don't have a complaint.
You don't have a case.
You have to have a complainant.
You don't have a complainant. There's no plaintiff in this case. So she's defending herself against no one. I can say I did anything, but if you don't have any right to corroborate what I'm saying and feeling like they violated, then it means nothing.
Yeah, because she's an entertainer. So when it all boils down, she's just going to say, I was just talking. Right. That was just entertainment. I'm an entertainer. So you got to have somebody that comes forth and complain first. But where Bill is concerned, there were a lot of things that went on back in the day that we are not privy to until, people start showing us. They got pictures dropping and, little clips surfacing from way back, whoever harbored them all these years and all this type of stuff. But like Corey said, when the rules change, when the laws change, then you needed to change your way of moving around. Your partying needed to change. But the thing also is, on the flip side of that is, if everybody's doing drugs, that's what this party is all about. We drugging it up, we sexing it up, we drinking it up. So everybody's drugging and drinking and doing their thing. So can you then truly hold the man responsible because he's inebriated too?
Right.
So can you truly?
If Bill is high and you are high, neither one of y'all really have the ability to give consent. Bill could say you took advantage of him, in a sense. And this was somebody else was saying. I see my boy Fred down there. What up, Fred?
Fred, we just finished discussing
just talking about you, young bud.
Because this is your issue. Free Bill. You glad Bill free?
And my thing with this is, it's a thin line because, once again, these are parties that go on that if you're intentional, my thing is, we know, and this is why I try to tell people, when you're having your opinion about this, speak strictly to
what you know.
And speak strictly to Bill, because you know what Bill said. You know what
Right.
Bill has said,
Openly
admitted to. You know he said he provided drugs. You know that he said this. There's no ands and buts about him saying that he provided drugs. Now what happened after that, we don't know if he was taking drugs, they were drugged together, but whatever. But my thing is, always stick to that. Stop
the facts.
Stop victim blaming and discrediting these women's story. This is why there are so many women who've actually been violated, because they don't come out, because when they do, they're automatically seen as
liars,
a liar, as
right,
the criminal, instead of as actual victims. So we have to be very, very careful when we talk about make a decision or have an opinion on things in regards to
what somebody said or did
what
not
somebody
say.
says when it comes to sexual assault.
Right.
So
there are going to be times where people are able to defend themselves, because the thing with sexual assault is it is definitely, unless it is a vicious rape where the person is beaten and, you know, physically they are messed up, and then they go to the hospital and, you know, the rape kit and all these things. Rape is one of those he say, she say. And it's unfortunate that it is that way. And a lot of women and some men who say that they were raped, they rarely ever come forth right after it happens. Like they got raped, and then immediately, as soon as they were free from the attacker, got up, went to the police, went to the hospital. All these things is very, very rare that happens that way. So by the time somebody goes, even if they do go to the police and not just to somebody else, even if they go to the police and say, I was attacked by so and so, there's no evidence.
They go home, they showered, they cried,
you know, all these
things go on before they come out and admit to this.
Most times, months, years maybe have gone by. So now they're gonna say your memory may not be completely intact of the situation. Y'all, sorry, we outside, but your memory may not be completely intact for the situation. To say that you know, are you remembering and recounting the situation exactly the way it was? You know, it's a lot of things when it comes to rape, and the different levels of rape that folks need to get an understanding before you just automatically say, oh, she lying. That is the you're turning someone into a victim again. Now, 9 times out of 10, if this person didn't do anything, there's going to be evidence to speak to the fact that they didn't do anything, because your behavior after the fact most times can say, oh, this we cannot count on what you said, because there are some women in this Bill Cosby situation who went back. Okay, familiar with that? There are some people who went back after the fact,
right,
and multiple times. So if you're somebody that, as a police officer, as a DA, I would be like, yeah, we cannot use you,
because we feel like you were just going to have to getting high with Bills and having sex with
It couldn't have been.
And
what you're saying.
And it couldn't have been what you're saying, because the only way you felt like the only way you can have sex with Bill was to be high. So we can't really take.
The only way I could have sex with Bill is to be high. I'm sorry.
We can't see y'all. We can't even take your story seriously. And those are the ones who I'm like, wait a minute. This man drugged you, took advantage of you.
Multiple times.
Multiple times. So did you not know every time, or at what point did you realize, hey, I'm being taken advantage? Something is happening to me that I'm not aware of, which is possible. It may have taken 2 times for you to realize, wait a minute,
I ain't feeling right. I'm sore.
Something ain't right. I'm sore. This, that, and the other. But that's what I'm saying. When it becomes, when you go to court, it's about the facts. It's not about what you know. It's about what you can prove.
Right.
And that's what it boils down to. And this really came down to the DA screwed up. People can say Bill ain't do nothing. People can say Bill wasn't wasn't didn't do anything. He was innocent.
Right.
This has nothing to do with
Your
Bill's
feelings.
with your feelings or Bill's innocence or guilt. To be honest with
It's
you,
about what you can prove.
this boils down to what you can prove, which is why he went to jail in the first place, because they proved that he was guilty of something. But the problem was his lawyer was smart enough to know that the deposition that Bill gave originally, he only gave this deposition because he was told the DA was not going to use it against him in court to bring charges. Period. Once once the DA does this and you get this in writing from your lawyer, then
It can't happen.
it can't
no matter how
happen.
many years
The
later.
lawyer, they can't, once they give you a plea deal and for those of you who don't take your time and who plea out, once you plea out and they've agreed to whatever the plea bargain is, it's been signed on and come to an agreement, there's no turning back on that legally.
Right.
So that's why Bill is free. I'm not saying Bill is guilty or innocent. He got out on technicality. We see people get out on technicalities all the time. All the time. So let's not pretend that because Bill free that automatically makes Bill guilty. I mean innocent. Yeah. And it doesn't automatically make him guilty. All this is opinion based. Because none of us were in the courtroom, none of us was in these hotel rooms, 3:00 in the morning for an audition. People, this is Bill Cosby, one of the most powerful and influential black men in the world at the time. And if you are a young and inspiring actress and you're trying to get in the business, and Bill say, "Oh, I'm filming all day. I can't, I have this, that, and the third. I can meet you at this time." And y'all sit out and have conversation in the bar or wherever he tells you to meet you. And say at 12 a.m., he said, "Oh, I need to get back to my room. I need to make a call. I need to do this. Come on up to the room. I have a camera up."
You going.
You're going. You're going.
Yeah. It's killing me that all these grown people with grown brains are not able to think the process through, and keep on throwing out, "What you doing in a married man room at that time of morning anyway?" This is Hollywood.
And this is Bill Cosby.
We're filming movies all day. We're filming shows all day. We have production meetings all day. We have all these things going on. So it is not unlikely that a lot of business is still being done at the wee hours of the morning. We have, accounting and after accounting where people are in the studio making music
at 3
in the middle of the night. Yeah, it's in the middle of the night. Everybody, we sleep and we jamming out whenever the song is released. But this song was written and recorded at 3 a.m., 2 a.m.
Same
people
thing.
Are calling you and saying, "Hey, come put your verse on the song. Come drop your hook," and all this stuff. And it's 2 a.m. and you got to get up. We have heard these things. I just recently heard somebody say that they went at 2:00 in the morning from their university when they were in college to go drop a hook. I'm sorry, for R. Kelly that he didn't even use. It's 2 a.m. You just called me from my college to come sing on this hook, and then you didn't even use the hook. Like, that is what is happening in the entertainment industry. So,
and people try to apply entertainment to
real life
9 to 5. It's a different world.
It is.
Different things happen.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's so, and you have to think about that when you make your opinions. And I see a lot of people who've been a part of that world who are like, "Well, Bill ain't do that," because they know the stuff that goes on. And they're generating their opinion off experience, off of things they've seen happen. And then you have other people who are like,
"Bill did that."
Yeah, Bill did that. And they're entertainment people. And people, so y'all, I'm not saying Bill guilty or innocent. You can have your own opinion. My opinion of what it is. That's just like some people saying you gave them the drugs and whatever happened after that happened. That's like blaming a bartender for a drunk driver having an accident. which is true. That is a good analogy, but it doesn't necessarily fit this situation. It can in some instances. In some instances, it doesn't. It's just like the whole thing with Bill and with R. Kelly. For me, all it takes is for them to do it to one person, and that makes them guilty.
Period.
Regardless if the other 29 people lied, that one person that's telling the truth deserves to get justice, and he deserves to be punished.
And think about this as well, because a lot of people are with Bill this, Bill that, Bill. Let me tell y'all something. Before everybody want to put Bill on the save side. He's the Captain Save. So before we put him on the savior side, also remember Bill was married at the time. So before you go trying to make Heathcliff Huxtable Bill Cosby's character, also remember that he is drugging and being loose with these women while you are married. So your character is not showing well for you at this time. So for people who keep on, man, Bill Cosby done this, he done gave this money, he done this, he done this. So I don't believe Bill would do none of that. Bill Cosby was a married man. You got 20 some odd women that then came out and said he slept with me or did something to me, whether he's admitting to because he never said he didn't sleep with these women.
No.
He never said that. He said that he had permission. So you done slept around on your wife 20 plus times.
And people are gonna say, "Where's the industry?" That's part of Hollywood. No.
That's part of your character.
Yeah,
that's your character.
And that's
because the one person that I still, Denzel Washington, Sidney Poitier, all these different people are part of the industry at that time too, and you haven't heard all these wild stories and accusations on these people.
Which is, and not to say that they didn't, they just were smart enough not to get caught. And when it comes to the whole thing, and this is what I was telling people, y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta learn how to separate characters from real people. Yeah. Bill Cosby is not Cliff Huxtable. Cliff Huxtable is a character. And I want y'all to stop trying to
Heathcliff.
Put Heathcliff and William together as one person. Those are two different people. What Bill did in his private time is not the same thing as what Heathcliff
Rudy's
did on
daddy
TV.
Is not Bill Cosby.
And I had a lot of people try to say Cliff Huxtable was a hero to black people. That was a character.
The character was.
He was never my hero because I grew up in a 2-parent household. So some of that stuff that people grabbing on to wasn't a big deal for me. But for those of you who it was, stick to Cliff Huxtable and don't try to make Bill Cosby into Cliff Huxtable. This boils down to us putting entertainers, athletes, and the like on a pedestal as if they're
above
being humans, and because they have money, they're bigger than they are. Once again, like my boy Dave Chappelle said, he rapes, but he saves.
It's their job. It's his job. And I see that he did his job well because it was his job to sell dreams. Yeah. That's his job. He's an entertainer. It was his job to sell you a dream. It was his job to make you feel all warm and fuzzy. Everything he did was supposed to make you laugh and feel good and all this stuff. And he obviously did his job well because some people can't come down out of the entertainment and the warm and fuzzy feeling they got enough to stop and think and put logic and reason to the whole situation. Was everybody violated? Probably not. Was somebody violated? I'm going to say yes. Because I feel like what we always say, everybody ain't lying all at the same time.
Right. Everybody ain't lying.
Everybody ain't lying. So
and the closing on the Bill Cosby thing, because it's getting close to game time now. The final start tonight. And we're going to transition. But I have one other thing to say.
That's the show.
I have one other thing to say before we close out on the Bill Cosby thing. And this is me. This is my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And the views expressed here are strictly Corey's opinion. My thing as men, especially as black men, we have an obligation to black women. I mean, that was a time in my life I'd have been a gung ho that Bill Cosby didn't do nothing. I'd have been ready to argue with y'all, debate, and whatever when it came to not just Bill Cosby,
But a black
but
man.
but black men, because have been we are an endangered species. Black men, we are under attack from every angle at all times. So I would have been 10 toes down on Bill's side with this in my 20s, maybe 20 years ago, 20, 25 years ago. I'd have been 10 toes down. But in the process of learning, research, and understanding the importance of black women, the importance of our role as black men, we're put here to provide and protect our women and children. That's our role. That's our primary role. And sometimes protecting black women means protecting them from themselves and the mistakes that they're about to make and the things that doing. And in some of these instances, I'm sure we as black men have to stand up and be like, baby, you don't need to be doing this. You don't need to be taking these drugs. You don't need to be out here trying to sleep your way to success. If your talent is not enough to get you where you need to go, don't don't sacrifice your integrity and character for some money.
Right.
And as black men, since we should have been protecting these women from themselves in some cases in these situations. And but once again, this is a party lifestyle. This is a make everybody feel good, everybody do good, and as men, because if this was your daughter,
Yeah,
or your sister, or your mother,
saying Bill did this.
you would have felt differently about your family member. And we shouldn't just limit the protection of black women or black females. No, just not say women. This is women, children, so we're going to just say black females. This is our role as black men to protect black females, just like it is the black woman's role to protect and nurture and support the black male, be it man, woman, child, whatever. And that's one of my biggest takeaways from this. No one was here to protect these women from themselves, because that's a part of your job as a protector. The lion protects the the lioness, and so on and so forth. The animals have it. We as humans are the ones who don't.
I don't I don't that's Bill. So Corey mentioned the game is about to come on. There's another big serious headline going on right now that I personally feel some real type of way about. Because I'm a woman and I feel like there's some woman uh girl code being broken in this situation, more so than the color code being broken right now. I feel there's
I'm gonna
more
let her
girl
speak on this.
code being broken. Really?
Yeah,
It's a sports thing.
yeah, but I'm gonna let you, the part of it that you sparked ain't got nothing to do with sports.
Okay. Well, the girl code I feel is being broken with this situation more than the race code, I think. Um, but it's being called out as racism right now, which I don't like. Because I don't think it's there's racism there. I'm speaking of the situation with, give me the name, Rachel Nichols
Rachel
and
Nichols and Maria Taylor.
Maria Taylor, where Rachel Nichols' conversation with a rep was secretly, not secretly recorded, it was accidentally recorded. Her equipment was still recording and she didn't realize that her equipment was recording, and it automatically downloads to the ESPN servers. And someone came upon the video or the audio, and then, you know, put it around through to a few people who work for ESPN, and from there it continued to go and go, and now it's out in public. And if you have listened to this recording or whatever, and if you listen to it objectively, then hopefully you feel that there wasn't anything racist going on.
just so happened to be a black woman and a
Race
white lady.
plays into it because they are of two different backgrounds, but not because the Rachel Nichols was being racist. She did not talk down on black people. She did not talk down on Maria Taylor herself. She specifically spoke to the fact of her opinion concerning the job she was looked over for, that she and Maria Taylor were in the runnings for against one another. And she was specific in saying that she feels like she was passed up for the job because Maria is a black woman and ESPN is trying to fix in front of the world their diversity issues, because ESPN has been being called out hand over fist about their diversity, or the lack of diversity and representation when it comes to people of color at ESPN. And she feels like she lost the job based on the fact that ESPN is trying to, fix their public relations, and it cost her a job right in the midst of that. And that is her opinion, and
She
she's
has the
probably
right
right.
to.
you
And
know.
she now this one I'm gonna jump in. I said I want to say.
Well, I wasn't expecting you to be quiet.
Okay.
Not about this.
My opinion is ESPN is known for lack of diversity.
Right.
This I feel Rachel Nichols walked into a hornet's nest because her opinion was recorded. It was shared amongst black employees who already have an issue with the way ESPN as a whole handles race relations. So because of this, Rachel Nichols is taking the heat, and ESPN has found a scapegoat, and they're going to use her.
And I feel like this as a set of people should be rallying around Rachel Nichols at this point. I do believe this is my opinion on how this should be handled. I think those people should be rallying behind Rachel because it's her words that's going to set the captives free. And if they use it as the catalyst that it can be used as, and with this white woman openly, not openly because it was recorded accidentally, but being recorded specifically speaking to the lack of diversity and how they are in the whole on their ways, if they were to get behind this woman and say we support what she said because she's telling the truth. Do we agree that maybe the two of them were up for the same job? Miriam may have just been better cut for the job, but unfortunately, Maria, I can't get the name straight. But either way, maybe she was better for the job, truly, but because of the things that ESPN has going on and their quick fixes, it looks like Rachel was looked over because Maria is black. And so it just falls in place that way. So Rachel is not wrong for feeling the way she's feeling because that's the way the cards are falling. That's the way it's looking right now. So black folks that are in this industry, the black people that are in ESPN, I do think really should be rallying around Rachel and saying, this woman saw it. How can everybody else not see it?
And the problem, the hardest part of that, I get where you're coming with that. The thing with that is, there's been so many cases of white people saying one thing on camera and doing and acting another way off camera.
But I don't see that in this.
That you don't see this because you're not on in ESPN on that campus every day. So the first emotion is you're saying I only got this job because I was black and ESPN was trying to fill the diversity, not because I. So the first thing they hear is, oh, she's not qualified. She only got it because she was black because ESPN is trying to fill their diversity quota. At this point, that's all they hear because this has been said so many times behind the scenes.
And again, that's why I say if you listen objectively.
So that's objective.
A lot of people going on emotion.
And a lot of them, because there's so much emotion tied to this for those employees.
Right.
it's kind of hard to be objective. We can be objective because we're not in that situation. We can hear
True.
because when I listened to it, I didn't think she was being racist.
Yeah,
I felt like she was being
a person
pissed off for being passed over for a job she feels she deserved,
Right.
which all of us have
Right.
at some point.
Right. And this is my thing too with that.
Maria took this and she ran with it to help get some other black women opportunities.
And that's where the girl code comes in. But
So,
go on.
She took that girl code after the fact. She took this as an opportunity to get some black women who were deserving of opportunities. I just feel like she shouldn't be on Rachel's throat without having a real open and open conversation with Rachel, because Rachel has admitted she's texted her, she's called her, she's tried to apologize, but Maria hasn't
opened the door
to have a conversation. That's where my problem comes in, because you need to sit down and listen and speak with this woman and see where she was coming from.
Don't let the emotions.
And don't let your emotions just override when she openly comes to you to apologize.
Right.
Because this wasn't something that was specifically directed at you as on your ability. This was how she's feeling in regards to ESPN as the company.
Right.
You took it though, and you did what should have been done with it, but you did it selfishly because you're also rolling over her in the process, because she's not going to be on air tonight for the finals because you refused to work with her. But you haven't sat down with her to get, because if you didn't have any other problem with Rachel before this, where you felt any kind of way about her being racist or being this type of person, you've been there for 7 years, which means y'all been working together for 7 years. So at some point she would have done or said something that would have made you pause. Now, if she has, then that's a different story.
And I don't feel like she has, because I feel like if she had, then she would have taken this time to come out and say, 100%. Yeah, because some months ago she said this 100%. Or she did this. So I don't feel like
and
she has.
And the thing with Maria says, like she said, she has spoke out on a couple of things, situations where she felt that they were out of order situations, not with Rachel, with ESPN. Other people at ESPN, and they didn't come to her, but they've come to her about the thing with Rachel, not to see if she was the one who leaked it, not to see
if she's okay,
but if she was guilty of leaking the video, the audio. So my thing is, I feel like sometimes we need to take a step back, take our emotions out of things, and sit down and talk with people. Like Kwame Brown says, we need to talk to some of these.
Even if we don't agree,
we need to have a conversation with people with different point of view. Because this is an opportunity to elevate and make some change at ESPN. Let's be 100% honest. This is run by Rachel Nichols, said it herself.
Right.
This came out of her mouth. ESPN is run by conservative, Trump-supporting white males. This came from Rachel Nichols. If you read the article, she said this in the conversation.
And if they could take emotion out of it, they can get behind this white woman,
right, without a doubt,
and let that be the catalyst for a big, serious change. Because at the end of the day, their very own very rarely speaks out against their own. So at this point, she don't have to dirty her hands and speak out against anybody, because she was recorded accidentally. So your recording has already caught you in your honest moment, because you were behind closed doors. You weren't with other colleagues. You were talking to someone from your heart and out of your own personal feelings, and it was recorded. Therefore, your recording can speak for you. So they don't even have to say, Rachel, come and speak. They ain't got to do none of that. They can say, Rachel, just don't fold. Don't fold.
Don't say you didn't mean it. Don't say you don't change your mind.
Rachel, we got your back.
Taken out of context.
Don't fold.
Just stick with it. So that's
unfortunately,
that's my thing. But unfortunately, that's not the way it's going.
People are making this a racist situation when it is not a racist situation, in my opinion. That woman did not, as far as Rachel is concerned, for that woman, for something to be considered racist, you have to literally be talking disparagingly about the race in question. you have to be taking a hit at them in some way. You have to be talking down on them. You have to be doing something against them. And she did not do any of that.
And
she specifically spoke to her job situation and saying that she feels like she lost that opportunity because ESPN, not Maria Taylor, ESPN is trying to fix something, and they did it by that's one way that they were able to do it at this time because race is a hot button right now.
And the biggest thing about this, Maria Taylor's contract is up this month.
Oh yeah, they got to renew that contract.
And if she is not renewed, she becomes the third black woman in the last 3 to 5 years, following Jamel Hill, following Carrie Champion, that have been taken, that have left ESPN
behind race issues,
behind the same type of issues. Mm-hmm. So this is an ESPN problem, not a Rachel Nichols problem.
Right.
She just happens to be
she's
caught
people
up
are going
in the middle.
She's going to end up being this company's scapegoat. And what's going to happen if we as a people don't stop pinning everything on racism, and we are so quick to call something racist that we jump past the point. Y'all have, yeah, not y'all, because y'all watching. I know y'all are some loving people and y'all are compassionate and y'all think objectively and your eyes are open. So not y'all, but y'all have sat up there and immediately went to calling something racist without taking the moment to listen objectively. And then what's going to happen is we're going to be so far down Rachel's throat that we're going to let ESPN off the hook.
PTSD. That's race, slavery PTSD. We don't have it when there's a white person and a black person. At ours is automatically racist. It's not just a difference of opinion.
Right.
It's automatically.
It's not just two people disagreeing.
A race issue. It's not
just automatically racism.
Disagreeing. And my problem.
ESPN is about to get off.
ESPN. We're gonna let the people who have the problem get off again. So
it's gonna be, the person watching the slave fighting the slave, but master's the one that set the whole thing up.
Yeah.
He gave you permission to do what you just did.
We threw two bucks out in the field to fight to the death, and then everybody gonna get mad at the buck that lost.
Right.
Instead of master who started this whole fight when they had no beef with each other.
Right. They are literally in the media knows how to stoke the fire because the media puts the tag on it. Because the thing I saw yesterday, was the racist rant of Rachel Nichols. It was not a racist rant. She did not.
She didn't make any.
She didn't use any derogatory slang.
She didn't. No derogatory slang. Is about a 20-minute conversation. She didn't use the N-word. She didn't question Maria's ability to do the job. She spoke strictly. She even spoke about the fact that her as a white woman has had to work above, beyond, and outwork everybody around her male counterparts, white male counterparts, even her black male counterparts.
They're men in the sports world.
To get where she is. So she would never step on another woman who she knows has to fight this same struggle at ESPN. So this is not only a race issue with even ESPN.
It's a gender problem.
This is a gender problem at ESPN. And we're so quick because they know we're going to grab the racism.
Immediately.
We're going to defend color before we defend anything. Be it male, female, issues, whatever. Gender is going to be surpassed for race every time. So ESPN, they have public relations people, fixers this is their job to spin this type of stuff. That's what they're doing.
They are spinning the hell out of it because everything we see is automatically tagged racist. And it was not racist. It was this woman speaking up and feeling like she lost something she worked hard for in the midst of what right now is the fixer. The ESPN is in the middle of being fixed. So she got caught up in the fixing.
This is like the Juneteenth.
Yeah, we asked for rights
We
and
asked
they
for
gave
rights and
us
they
a
gave us a
holiday.
holiday. This is like Juneteenth. Um,
The girl code.
Get your girl code in because I have something because we need to know relationship type things, but I have a relationship type thing I want to end with.
Okay.
So yeah,
The girl code for me that was broken came on the part of Maria Taylor. Maria Taylor as a woman, because this situation, when you listen to the recording or when you read the transcript from the recording, as a woman, because even Rachel once again spoke to how hard it is to be a female in the sports world and at ESPN. So Maria Taylor did something that as a woman, as a full grown woman, should not have done. And that was put her mouth on someone else's livelihood. No way in the world should you ever, just as an adult, put your mouth on somebody else's livelihood. You should not do that. You got the job. That woman is entitled and it is her right to speak her dissatisfaction on why she did not get that job. That is her right to feel how she feels. And you know, being at this company, that she is right. She didn't say anything wrong. She didn't say there were no lies told when you listen to her thing, because you have had problems yourself about racist things, or things concerning race, or people speaking out of turn or out of context, or however, whatever the stories are that she says she has reported to ESPN, and they have not reached back out to her. So the things that Rachel is saying, you personally can say, oh, that's true. So what you should do, Maria, is sit down and talk to Rachel and you two get that worked out as women. But you should have never, Maria, and I'm talking to Maria like she's ever going to see this, but okay, you have to hashtag it for it to possibly pop. Maria, you had no business talking to ESPN and telling those people that you'll do this, but not with her. You had no right and no business putting your mouth on that woman's livelihood. So what they did, because you, Maria, decided that you didn't want to work with her, they started pre-recording things that were normally live. They took that position and said, okay, we're not going to have a sideline reporter live. We're going to have a sideline reporter do some things pre-recorded, and then we'll air it at a such time where it looks like it's live, but it's not. And then what has happened is the domino effect of somebody doing something dirty. The women, because now we need to get back live because here come the finals and we need all this to be live. We need to be on time with this stuff. So the people who could have jumped in and said, okay, let's plug her in, the other black women, people of color, the women who could have actually gotten on the sidelines and did something live can't, because they deleted the position because you said, I don't want to deal with her. I don't want to work with her. That was their person. Therefore, that position was deleted. Instead of you just being an adult
and doing your job.
All you need to do is do your job.
You could easily say, okay, let's rotate this, because that's what they started doing. That's why y'all started seeing more black women and people of color doing the sideline reporters during the playoffs, was because Maria said, I won't work with Rachel. So they started rotating. So Rachel wasn't the only person doing it.
Right.
Which is what they probably should have been doing
from
anyway.
the beginning, right.
So that was a good thing that came from it. But once they started saying, okay, we're not going, because y'all two are still not speaking, we're going to start recording stuff. So now the only person who was getting to record these feeds was Rachel. So she was the only one getting that work when other people could have been getting that work. So
because you had a moment. And so now,
instead of staying professional,
staying in your zone, keeping your crown tilted high, you didn't let it slip a little bit because you had to play in the dirt. You played in the dirt, and now it's affecting other people that really this whole situation could have uplifted and helped had you stayed professional. But you got touched and you got emotional, and now things got to get fixed from the fixing. They fixed it one way, now they got to fix the fix.
And with that fix now, Rachel Nichols isn't on air for the final.
And what's about to happen to ESPN is Rachel Nichols has a hell of a discrimination case.
And they in all this, ESPN can easily not renew Maria's contract because they can at this point. And because also, it's expired, it's not like they fired her.
It's expired. And then what you did by making a mess this way, by going after somebody's livelihood, by going after somebody's job, you just made it easy for ESPN to say you're hard to work with.
Right. You're the difficult black
woman. You're making things hard instead of just doing your job and going to work every day, and talking to this person without even saying her name, and over on the floor, who are we talking to today? You ain't got to even say that name, that person's name. You ain't got to acknowledge that person at all.
Y'all on the stage. Anybody else could have, even though that's your job, they could have easily switched that to let somebody else on the
somebody could have just said, all right, Maria, let's go to Rachel.
Because those other three people that work with you, two black guys and a Jewish person, they felt like they had to support you as the black woman because they ran with emotion as well.
Right.
Those three males ran with emotion and came with
like an emotional man.
Came with the
Black power support.
The Captain Saver mentality. They supported it, and they also caused that problem. When they should have been talking you down as a way to work this out
and
logically.
What did you just say?
With lawyers.
Save her from herself sometimes. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, what you did was you just created a problem for yourself, because now ESPN, being the all racist power that they are, could just simply say, you are hard to work with, baby.
And they can point to anything. They'll say, well, the ratings when you were on, when they'll find something. If they want to, they'll find a reason not to bring you back home.
You wouldn't be professional with your coworker. You wouldn't do your job. You forced us to move somebody around because you weren't comfortable just simply doing your job. So for that reason, we're not going to renew your contract. It's you put a target on your back by simply trying to play in the mud and go against girl code. Sisters, I don't care what color you are. Women in the workplace, especially in a male-dominated workplace, we got to look out for one another. And in this moment, this was a girl code thing. This was a girl code thing where my feelings might be hurt because maybe I feel like I got the job because I was the best candidate. To hell with the fact that I'm black. But when I step outside of the situation and I look at it, dang, it probably was. Even though I feel like I am the best candidate, this was a strong contender, and the job probably would have went to Rachel. Maybe. But because I am black, they made sure I got it because they trying to fix some things. So I got to see it from both perspectives. But she was stuck in her emotions and not, seeing things objectively. So the girl code, like I said, we can't attack one another in front of these men. We can't do that, especially not in the workforce where it is already male dominated. We're already paid less as women. When it comes, not me, I'm self-employed, but women, period, as a whole, we are already paid less than our male counterparts for the same job, literally the same job. And we're already paid less, cents on the dollar, less. So as women, as the girl code, at some point you have to be able to step outside of yourself. Maybe the two of y'all need to go close the door, lock the door, have y'all moment, and then fix your hair and then come back out with a united front in front of everybody else. That's what should have happened. It should not be this big, broad fallout, female to female, because what's happening now is the boys upstairs is saying, see, this is why we don't put women in certain positions, because they're emotional. They don't know how to operate. They don't know how to keep professional. They don't know how to do their job through their pain. So it's a lot of girl code. A lot was broken at this point. And I feel bad for Rachel. I do. I feel bad for Maria? She got the job. I don't. She won.
For now.
For now.
Okay, with that being said, Sons of Fire,
Sons and five.
Sons and five. And we tell y'all this is not just a relationship podcast. We're gonna talk about current events. And we were 100% current events today.
100.
100%. So we're gonna end this with something I read today that I need to find again.
Oh goodness.
Oh, y'all, Giannis gonna play tonight, game one. Don't matter, Suns are fine. The 2-2-2 marriage rule. We don't do this, but we're gonna try to implement this and see how it works.
We are?
Yeah, we're gonna try this.
Okay.
See if it works.
Let's discuss it. Let's see.
2-2-2. Every 2 weeks, go out on a date. Every 2 months, go out for the weekend. Every 2 years, go away for a week. Stick to those twos, and it will bless your marriage.
Okay.
So we're gonna work on 2-2-2.
2 weeks we go out on date.
Every 2 weeks,
2
make
months
sure
we
you
go
go on a
away
date.
for the full weekend.
Every 2 months we go away for the full
Every
weekend.
2 years we
every
take
2
a
years
1 week vacation.
we take a 1 week vacation.
I like that.
So we're gonna work on 2-2-2. All right, y'all. That's for the married folks that's out there. Y'all participate in a 2-2-2. Some of y'all may already do this. This is my first time seeing
people building a relationship that decided we are in this thing.
Yeah, y'all that's building a
relationship.
relationship and want to move towards that. That we can you can work on that too. 2-2-2.
Yeah, I like that. 2 weeks date, 2 months weekend, 2 years vacation.
2 years a week.
Okay.
All right.
1 week vacation.
So that's where we're going. And
I will report back to you all in 2 weeks and let you know if I've had a date or not. Because as you can see right now, I'm sitting here in my yard clothes. And
the date is not just on the man. It's a group project.
You keep them the way you got them.
Oh my God. Anyway, thank y'all for joining us. This has been Passing for Perfect.
Thank you.
The final start in about 20 minutes. Go Suns. And that's all I got for today. You got anything?
That's it.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Protect the girl code.
Protect these women, even from themselves. Now say goodnight, Gracie. Say goodnight, Gracie. See, that's what I'm talking about. Don't want to listen. Don't want to listen. Just say goodnight, Grace. That's all I ask.